Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was born January the 15th, 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia, and throughout his life, he challenged the perception of equality throughout the world. Years after his death, he is revered and he is celebrated as a true public servant. As such, in 1994, Congress passed the King Holiday and Service Act, designating Martin Luther King Jr. federal holiday as a national day of service. Taking place each year on the third Monday in January, the MLK Day of Service is the only federal holiday observed as a national day of service, a day on, not a day off, with the hopes of engaging volunteers beyond the holiday and impacting the community year-round. Now, without a doubt, Dr. Martin Luther King impacted his community, our nation, and the world in his day and in the many years since. He is regarded as a true trailblazer with a greater than 90% approval rating today. Now, we celebrate Dr. King's countless confrontations with the racists in the South. We marvel over the words that he spoke in August 1963 at the Lincoln Memorial when he told us about his dream. But many fail to remember that according to an early 1968 poll, the man that we now celebrate today died with a public disapproval rating of nearly 75%. Dr. King's popularity began to decline after he received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964. He began to lose his momentum once he moved his focus from the civil rights in the South to the segregation and poverty of Black Americans in the North. He also made the unpopular move at the time of speaking against the Vietnam War. And some say his final unpopular move before his assassination was with the Poor People's Campaign of 1968. King called for a march on Washington when he wanted to bring the tired, the poor, and the huddled masses together. During his final sermon, he spoke that we are coming to demand that the government address itself to the problem of poverty. Once he abandoned the racial civil rights protest days in the South in favor of pursuing a reconstruction of the entire society, a revolution of values while looking on the glaring contrast of poverty and wealth, he becomes more unpopular across the nation. As we take on the MLK Day of Service, we can be encouraged to act and work to improve the character of the communities in which we live in. Even when not popular, there are several lessons to learn from Dr. King's commitment to serve and push the whole of America to become what he knew it could be. A life of service does not always correlate with going along with popular opinion of the time. In his October 22, 1964 speech entitled "The Future of Integration" during a commencement speech to the graduating students at Oberlin College in Ohio, King said, "The time is always right to do what is right." At the time he made this speech, he was concerned with the coming election. He was concerned with the riots that were stirring in at least 6 American cities. His heart was also distressed by the murders of 3 civil rights workers in Mississippi. With these and other issues pressing on his mind, King was still able to tell the audience of college students that service is without condition. Our service to others does not depend on perfect timing or things being perfect in our lives. As such, service to others does not also depend on whether or not we are in the middle of a pandemic. Through King's example, we are reminded not to expect approval from others while engaging in service. As King spoke against the Vietnam War, many donors to the Southern Christian Leadership Conference wrote to him announcing that they were pulling their support. But there's an old song that we used to sing in the church that says, "May the work that I've done speak for me." Coretta Scott King spoke at Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta following the assassination of Dr. King, and she stated that our concern now is that his work does not die. He gave his life for the poor of the world, the garbage workers of Memphis, and the peasants of Vietnam. He gave his life in search of a more excellent way. We intend to go on in search of that way, and I hope that you, who loved and admired him, would join us in fulfilling that dream. So tomorrow and every day, we continue to work toward that more excellent way in service as we remember Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.